So the other day, a new friend of mine said that he likes to try to make sure he comes away with a small win from every day. He knows, and he said to me that it's rare when there can be these massive wins in a day. And it's more about making sure you get the small ones. And I love that philosophy, and I think that's absolutely true for me too, because if you're a busy person, if you're a person who has a lot of responsibilities on their shoulders, if you're someone for whom, other people make a lot of claims upon your time, you're busy, you're valuable, you have a lot to do, then it's rare when you're going to have a lot of free time to do things exactly as you would like. A lot of people are waiting for one sunny Sunday when they can spend the morning at the gym rather than realize they could be doing a 20 or 30-minute workout every single day in between busy moments. So I want to encourage you today to have a more opportunistic mindset and identify and collect those moments throughout the day when you can claim those small wins. And I think that's part of the art of living. If you're good at identifying and collecting those moments when you can get the small wins for yourself to build yourself into a better person, then months later or years later, you look back and you say, wow, I've come a long way. All those little inputs. Recently, I've been calling them small inputs. Small inputs into yourself really add up. A lot of people don't think they're so important. They don't do them. They overlook all the chances they have for the small inputs because, again, they're hoping for a big block of time. They're just not sensitive enough to how much time they're wasting. Like, if they want to get fit, rather than realizing they can do 20 or 30 minutes every single day, if they just hit the floor and did the push-up sets when they became free from a busy period in their day, instead of doing that every single day, they're waiting for a morning where it will be totally open. And then they'll take 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get ready to go to the gym, drive to the gym, spend a leisurely hour and a half at the gym, listening to music, checking news while at the gym, and then like a cool down coming home. You see, they need the whole morning to have a workout. But that's really unproductive, and I think it's really kind of, you have an undisciplined mind. Because what I would love to see you do is to be able to add more and more into your schedule. Realize how much more you can get done when you manage your time well, you stay productive, and you take advantage of even small blocks of time. And I'm not suggesting you fill every minute of every day. There should be downtime where you go for a walk, just let your mind ruminate or watch a favorite TV show. But I think far too many people are spending hours and hours, for example, on the phone when they could be putting that time to use. So let's think about some examples. When it comes to language learning, could you spend 10 or 15 minutes a day, perhaps over a coffee or a tea, reviewing your language learning rather than waiting for the weekend when you'd like to put in an hour or two? Could you do a set of push-ups or go for a jog rather than wait for, that 1 or 2 hour block that you would wish for? Rather than wait for enough time to source the produce and cook a healthy dinner, are there ways where you could eat healthy in a more simple way? Maybe perhaps just by eating less, saving yourself some time, staying healthy, but you don't have to make a full-on dinner by yourself. Or maybe you can, like, I don't know what you call it, DoorDash a nice big salad or something, so you save time, you eat really, really healthy. With practice, this becomes a way of being, and you start to build momentum. I actually think this way of thinking is as important for beginners, people who have a lot of free time, and less responsibilities, and they're thinking how to get started, it's as important for them as it is for people who are already busy and highly productive and good at managing their time. Let me explain why. Let's look at these two mindsets. For someone who's a little bit out of their good habits, not very productive, has a lot of free time, maybe younger, doesn't have a lot of responsibilities, they may be thinking, they may be hoping for massive change by installing a big habit. They kind of have this mentality like, I want to go big and make a big success, and if I can, then I'm just going to not do anything at all. They feel this pressure because they see what other people are achieving. They feel like they're not achieving, and so they want to try to do too much too soon. And it doesn't really work out. And they give up, they falter, they fail. I'd rather you install a small daily habit, build momentum, and then increase the intensity and the time duration of it. That's what I would recommend for beginners. And then if you are more experienced with this, if you have a lot of good habits going, if you have a lot of responsibilities, if you're pretty busy, but you're good at managing your time, still, there's a lot of room to practice with developing a flexible, opportunistic mindset. Because what I found with myself is I like to do my habits at the same time every day, but it can't always happen because there's too many variables in my life. I'm a busy family man. I have 2 kids. So what I realized my practice had to become is to be willing to, I have to first know what my daily habits are that I want to get done, keep them smaller, and make sure they get done. Be willing to do them at any time that pops up. So for example, if I usually do my language learning in the afternoon over a cup of coffee or tea, but today, for some reason, I have a little more free time in the morning, I just do it right then, because I don't know if my afternoon slot is going to be free. Maybe it's usually free, but I can't count on it 100%, then I'm going to take the time block I have now that just opened up in front of me. And that, to be honest, that's a little bit hard to do because the mind's better at, I think, doing the habits at the same time for the same duration every day. But if you practice a flexible, opportunistic mindset, I think that in itself can become a type of habit that becomes ingrained and becomes second nature. So to sum up, there's a phrase that I developed and I want to pass it on to you, and it goes something like this. It's better to do something small than nothing at all. And to put it in a different way, don't pass up the opportunity to carry out a small type of exercise to better yourself because you can't do something big. A lot of us, because we can't do something as big as we want, because not everything, we don't have an ideal situation in alignment today, so we just say, can't do it today. I'm just gonna kind of, veg today because I don't have the ideal situation hasn't unfolded for me. That's just not how it works. Nothing's ever going to be perfectly ideal. You're always going to have these curveballs, these variables, and learning how to dance with those. It's kind of like being a boxer, you got to juke and jive, you got to dip and strike and collect that small win for yourself. So whether it's language learning, exercise, a proper diet, even though things like sleep, things like having a wholesome activity with your kids where you give them your attention, you got to seize those moments, you got to claim them, because life is busy, life is crazy, and you don't know if you're going to have an ideal situation opening up later today or tomorrow. You might not. So this is about appreciating the time you have whenever it opens up, however small, 10, 15, 20 minutes could be put to good use, right? And again, I'm not saying every minute of every day has to be full. I'm not saying that, but there's a lot more we can be doing with our time, okay? Hope this video helps, and I'll see you back here in the next one. Bye-bye for now.